Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Delaware Park here on Saturday. It is July the 14th, 2018. I'm going to look at the stakes races on today's program from Delaware, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. I'm going to look at the stakes races here, races 5, 7, 8, and 9. Races 5, 7, 8, and the featured ninth race, which is the Delaware Handicap. Let's get on to it, starting off race number 5 from Delaware, which is the Carl Hanford Memorial. Purse $50,000. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards here. Field of 7 horses going the distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 on the main track. And I show the diagram, just gives me a second to look down at my notes, just bear with me. My top selection here, I like the number, where are we? I like the number 6 horse here, the 6 horse Hoffenheim. Gonna go 6-2-7-4 in the superfecta. 6-2-7-4 super. Top selection 6 horse Hoffenheim. 9-5, 5-year-old gelding by Midnight Loot. Carol Cedeno's on this one for David Jacobson. I would single this horse in a multi-race. Most recently, this horse had to start 2 weeks ago here at Delaware. 1 mile and 1/16 an option 65 claimer. This horse won for fun. Won by 2.5 lengths, and could have probably won by more, but it was only 3 other rivals that day. And, he just had a very easy victory. Before that, the 3rd of June at Belmont, 1 mile and 1/16 Lady Claimer. This horse finished second by 1 1/4 lengths there. Set the pace early on in the race and just couldn't keep the momentum going in the straightaway. He lost to Timeline, who's quite a good horse there, and who finished 3rd was Tappert, actually. So it was a very good race there. And then before that, an Lady Claimer at Belmont. Sloppy going, 6.5 furlongs, May 17th. Horse finished 3rd by 6.5 lengths. Was wide. Distance might have been a little bit too long for this, short for this horse, and I don't think this horse really handled the wet going. It just wasn't the day to win. I think coming here, getting 1 mile and 16, step down in class from some of the New York and Southern California races this horse is running in. I like this horse's chances a lot, so watch out for him here today. So to recount my selections for the 5th from Delaware, it's the Carl Hanford Memorial. I'm going to go with the 6 horse Hoffenheim. I'm going to go 6-2-7-4 in the superfecta. I'll single the 6 horse in the multi-race. There's a pick 4 that begins with this race, so if you play it, I suggest you to single the 6 horse. So now let's get on to race number 7 from Delaware. The 7th race, it's the Hockinson Stakes, per $75,000. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 11 horses going the distance of ground here of 1,200 meters, or the distance of ground of 6 furlongs on the Delaware main track. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs. My top selection here, I like the number 7 horse here, Stall Walking Dude. Gonna go 7-4-8-5 in the superfecta. 7-4-8-5 super. Top selection, the 7 horse Stall Walking Dude. This 8-year-old gelding by City Place. Carol Cedeno again on this one for David Jacobson. They better come in here. I have him in the first 2 races. But this horse, he's making his second off the layoff, this old man. His first start in 60 races. He's making his first start in 60 races here at Delaware today. His most recent outing, first off the layoff, 22nd of June at Belmont, 6 furlongs Lady Claimer. Horse finished 3rd by 1 1/4 lengths. A little bit wide, but he was coming at the end. It wasn't a bad comeback race. Before that at Aqueduct on the 23rd of November, Thanksgiving, 6 furlongs in the Grade 3 Fall Highway. This horse won by 1 3/4 lengths, and he had the high weight there of 134 pounds. A little bit wide, but he got there. Great race for this horse there. And then the Bold Ruler Handicap at Belmont, 7 furlongs October 28th. Horse finished second by 3/4 length. He just missed at the end. He actually opened up by a bunch, and then he kind of hit the wall. He just missed there. It just wasn't his day to win. And then the Vosberg, he finished 3rd by 1.5 lengths, a little bit wide, and he just couldn't catch Tactful, who sadly, I believe, passed away this week from injury. But I like him a lot here today. Should really do well second off the break. 7-2. It's not the best price, but you're going to have to take it. He's not carrying so much weight like he was in the Fall Highway, 134 pounds. Here he's carrying a decent 118 pounds, so watch out. So to recap my selections for today's 7th race from Delaware, it is the Hockinson Stakes as a top selection here. I'm going to use the 7 horse Stall Walking Dude. I'm going to go 7-4-8-5 in the superfecta. 7-4-8-5 super. So now let's get on to race number 8 from Delaware. The 8th race is probably one of my favorite races in, it's in the top 10, top 15, shall we say, of my favorite races around the world. And this race is the Grade 3 running of the Kent Stakes. Purse $200,000. It's for 3-year-olds here. Field of 9 horses going the distance of ground of 1,800 meters or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/8 on the Delaware Turf Course. 1,800 meters, a mile and 1/8 turf. Rail is not out today, so they'll be running against the hedge or the rail, whatever they call it. And why this race is one of my favorite races, mainly my favorite division is 3-year-old turf, and you always see some really good horses come out of that division, and this is one of those key races, I think, along with the Palm Beach from Gulfstream, the Hollywood Derby and the Oak Tree Derby from Southern California, or whatever they call it now, the Twilight Derby. The Belmont Derby is a good race. Secretary, that whole division is always, you always see good horses run in it. And I think this race this year is, it's a good race again. And you see some decent horses from New York winning this race. My top selection here, who I like, is a New York horse, but I'm going to give you 2 horses that I think can run big races. But as a top selection, I'm going to use the 5-horse Untamed Domain. I'm going to go 5-3-1-7 in the superfecta, 5-3-1-7 super. I'm going to use the 5-horse in the multi-race, and I'm going to use the 3-horse Duke de Calas in the multi-race also, and I'm going to do a small, win wager on him also, because I think he's a good horse who can run a big one. But the first horse I'll be talking about here is the 5-horse Untamed Domain, 5-2. Jose Ortiz coming in from New York to ride this Grand Motion Train 3-year colt by Animal Kingdom. His most recent outing came the 2nd of June at Belmont Inner Turf Course in the Grade 3 Pennine Ridge. This horse finished 4th by 6 3/4 lengths there. Very wide that day, and he just couldn't catch Catholic Boy. Why do I keep saying Catholic Cowboy? Every time I see Catholic Boy, I keep calling him Catholic Cowboy. But Catholic Boy, who won that day, actually won next start out last week in the Belmont Derby. This horse just really couldn't get that good closing kick. The inner turf course to Belmont is speed-orientated horses, but this turf course here at Delaware, closers can get the nod in it, and I just think he's in a better spot here than he was in the Pennine Ridge. Before then, the American Turf at Churchill, mile 16th, May the 5th. This horse had a very good second place finish by 1.5 lengths. He just missed at the end, but he had a decent turn of foot there on quite yielding ground. And then the 10th of March at Tampa, mile 16th in the Tampa Derby. He finished 6th by 13.5 lengths. First start on dirt, probably last start on dirt. He just did not handle it well. And then before that, he had a very good third place finish in the Diana Beach. A very good second behind Mendelssohn in the Breeze Cup Juvenile Turf. I like this horse a lot here today. I think he should really bounce back from the last loss. 5-2, not the best price, but you're going to have to take it. The cross-country pick 4 is a part of this race. If you don't know what the cross-country pick 4 is, it's 2 races from Belmont, 2 races from Delaware. And, if you play it, I would use this horse, Untamed Domain, along with the 3-horse Duke de Calas. Trevor McCarthy's on this one for Christophe Clement, who trains his 3-year colt by Dunkirk, whatever. I can't speak French, pardon me. That's why I got a C+ in French a few semesters ago. But I had to take a college foreign language. I took French. Pissed off my grandmother. My grandmother spoke German, and I can't speak German, so I took French, and I can't speak French either. So it was either take one or the other, and I took the other, and she was pissed about that, and I can't speak both. So but back to this 3-horse. He's making his North America debut, first time Lasix, blinkers back on, first time blinkers also. His most recent outing came 24th of February at Consumers in France, a mile and a quarter on the poly track, and just a basic allowance race. He won by head there. He had a decent turn of foot to get there. It was a good effort for this horse. Before that, Marcel Point Vivo, whatever you want to call it, has 2 different names. 2,000 meters, a mile and a quarter, and a handicap. With the heavy weight of 130 pounds, he got the win there. He closed up well. Keep in mind, Marcel is it's kind of a bull ring track, shall I say. It's a 6.5 furlong circumference, or about 6 furlong circumference. So, for horses to close up like he did there was quite impressive. And then before that, Consumers, a mile and a quarter and a handicap. He finished 8th, wide post track. He just didn't have a lot going there. And then before that, on the 3rd of June, Marcel, a mile and a quarter, 2,000 meters and a handicap again, main race. He had a decent turn of foot to get the victory. I think he's been training well at Belmont on the inner turf course. He should get a good pace to close up with, and I think at 8-1 he's a horse you definitely want to use. So watch out for him. So to recap my selections for the 8th from Delaware, it's the Grade 3 Kent Stakes. As a top selection, I'm going to use the 5-horse Untamed Domain. I'm going to go 5-3-1-7 in the superfecta. I'll go 5-3 in the multi-race, and I'm also going to do a small, win wager on the 3-horse also. So now let's get on to the featured 9th race from Delaware. The 9th race, it's the Delaware Handicap, the Grade 2 Delaware Handicap, per $750,000. It's for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds, and upwards. Field of 9 horses going the distance of ground here. The classic distance of ground of 2,000 meters or 1.25 miles on the Delaware main track. 2,000 meters, 1.25 miles. And when was it? 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they had the slight, shall we say, controversy with this race when the horse broke. I think it was a Larry Jones horse, broke at the beginning of the race and took out a whole bunch of horses and went on to win. And everybody said, "Oh, this horse should get scratched. Horse should get scratched." She didn't, or disqualified, and she didn't get disqualified and caused an uproar on Twitter. Sometimes I think people on Twitter are talking out of their asses, but I didn't like. I was voting for her not to get taken down because I hit the pick 4 with that race. But, this race always has some controversy with it, it seems. We have 9 horses here. My top selection, I'm going to use the 5-horse, Unbridled Mo. I'm going to go 5-3-6-1 in the superfecta. 5-3-6-1 super. Top selection of 5-horse, Unbridled Mo. 5-2. John Velasquez is on this 5-year-old mare by Uncle Mo. Horse's most recent outing came 9th of June at Belmont, a mile 16th in the Odegon Phipps. This horse finished 3rd by 9.5 lengths there. First off the break, this horse needed the race, was very wide and just didn't show up. Abel Tasman just ran a little bit of a better race. Before that, in the Grade 1 Apple Blossom Handicap at Oaklawn, mile 16th, April 13th, this horse won by 2.5 lengths. She just had the bounce on Unique Bella, who had a horrible race personally. This horse she just had a decent turn of foot to get the victory there. And then the Royal Delta at Gulfstream, 1 mile, February the 19th. Horse finished 4th by 5.25 lengths. First start nearly 10 months. Needed the race because this horse never really quickened up. But this horse, this race is not so tough race, not as tough as the Odegon Phipps. And I just think here, this horse could bounce back to have a victory. She's been training well. She should definitely get the monoquarter. I think this horse is bred to go it. And, watch out for her to run a big one. So to recap my selection for the 9th from Delaware, it's the Grade 2 Delaware Handicap. I'm going to use the 5-horse Unbridled Mo as a top selection. I'm going to go 5-3-6-1 in the superfecta. I'll single the 5-horse in the pick 4, the cross-country pick 4. I would single it, and in the regular pick 4 that connects to races here at Delaware. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and join me next Friday for my Saratoga preview here on YouTube. Good luck, everybody.